At the close of last week, former Vice President Mike Pence shocked the nation and earned so much credit for admitting that no, he in fact does not have the unilateral ability to decide who gets to be president. That was not an option on January 6th, and Donald Trump should really stop asking about it. So he admitted that, and the reaction from the Trump circle has not exactly been positive. Here, I'm not gonna read this entire thing, but here's a little bit from the former president who, if you thought that his vice president turning on him would change his mind, I guess you haven't been awake for the last 5 years or so. He said, "Just saw Mike Pence's statement on the fact that he had no right to do anything with respect to the electoral vote count." All of those words capitalized for some reason I'll never understand. "Other than being an automatic conveyor belt for the old crow Mitch McConnell to get Biden elected president as quickly as possible. Well, the vice president's position is not an automatic conveyor. If obvious signs of voter fraud or irregularities exist, that's why the Dems and rhinos are working to change the law. The reason they want to change is because they now say they don't want the vice president to have the right to ensure an honest vote. In other words, I was right and everyone knows it. If there's fraud or large scale irregularities, it would have been appropriate to send them back. Our country is going to hell." So he's sticking with it. Shocker. I understand a lot of people probably bet on the opposite outcome, but no, he's sticking with it. So anyway, Adrienne, are you all surprised? How much credit did you give to Mike Pence after his statement last Friday?
Oh, I gave him absolutely no credit. It's like he took forever and a day, and now what? Who cares? But also, I am not shocked that Trump is holding on to this. We know he is just full of laughs when it comes to being ignorant, and also keeping his minions ignorant as well. So none of this shocks me at all. But it's interesting now that Trump doesn't have all of the microphones that he did before in terms of social media access, that he's putting out these statements, and it's very interesting to see, because it really does reduce the damage that he could do. So I'm really happy to hear he's not on Twitter.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I hope, if he runs again, he could get that ability to do damage back. But as of right now, yes, it is somewhat limited. By the way, I just want to remind you, we don't often do like sometimes news is really important and we want to just do it again to remind you, but we don't generally do that. But I do still want to remind you, last week we found out that not only was there a plan to have the military or the DOJ, DHS, whoever will do it, seize voting machines in swing states, but that he was directly involved in the planning of that scheme that thankfully never came to pass. Seems important. I don't know, Adrienne, I guess that's not illegal, planning to do that. I guess until you actually have your hands around it.
No, inchoate crimes are still crimes. The fact that you haven't completed it just means you're inept, but it doesn't mean you're not a criminal. So yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
Well, I didn't understand all of those words, but I get the general gist. Anyway, so that was Trump's. I'm totally joking. I know what it means. That was what Trump said. Others had, I don't know, maybe even harder words for Pence. Trump got kind of derailed for how much he disdains the old crow, Mitch McConnell. But anyway, Steve Bannon recently was talking about Mike Pence, and take a look at what he said.
Pence, you're gonna carry this thing eventually to your grave, okay? Because it is a mark of shame, and you are a stone cold coward, Boris Epstein. We're going to start with numbers and analysis, and then this thing broke this afternoon. My head's blown up, so Boris, you got to help me out here, brother. I can't take Pence, and I can't take Pence and Mark Short and all these coke guys up there ratting out Trump up on Capitol Hill right now.
Okay, so he's going to take it to his grave. Maybe I'm just being a snowflake, Adrienne. Maybe I'm just looking for threats of political violence that don't exist. But I don't know, do we have to use that terminology that he's going to take it to his grave? They tried to kill him on the 6th.
Exactly. That's the thing that gets me. It's like they essentially put him in a position where he had to fear for his life and his safety, literally. And then after that, essentially accusing him of not doing what he couldn't do anyways. That put him and his family's lives in jeopardy. I'm sure Secret Service was working overtime. And so now to almost reignite these kind of subtle cues and hints, if there were a system that worked, I really feel like a lot of these people would be in handcuffs already.
Yeah. What if we had a system that worked? That would be great. I have a request for the director though. Before we move on to the next thing, is it possible to replay that video with no sound? Because there are two things that I think we have to acknowledge before we move on. If you could do that, throw to that video with no sound, please. There's a quote, there are no conspiracies, but there are no coincidences, which I already hate as a quote. And it took me a moment to realize that says Stephen Bannon below.
That does.
Wait, you can do that?
Hell yeah.
Put up a quote of you?
Yes. You should be doing that.
Space, Adrienne. I mean, like you have a book. I get that. That's not like you plucking one sentence out of the book that you think is especially deep.
Oh, are you kidding? I will quote my damn self. You best believe I'm gonna have one of those quotes too.
You miss 100% of the shots that I don't take for you, John Iadarola. That's what it's gonna say. Can we go to that video one more time? Because there's one other thing. I swear to God.
Is it the Jesus? Is that getting you?
I didn't even notice.
Or do we do hard things?
Okay. The we can do hard things seems like the expansion for Cards Against Humanity nobody asked for. We can do hard things. Calm down, Steve Bannon. Jeez, I'm blushing over here. Anyway, the Jesus, I get a lot of people have a lot of affection, obviously, for Jesus. It seems weird in the background of a shot like that. I'm the guy with Funko Pops and dragons and stuff, but the Jesus seems like a little bit too much. I don't know.
I think he was definitely going for a look there, and I don't know what look that is, but it has some conspiracies going on and hard things.
No, they don't exist. Only coincidences. The hard thing being there is just a coincidence. Anyway, somebody in the chat just alerted me to the fact that Jared Jackson noticed that too on the watch list. How dare you watch list? That was my scoop. We've been scooped again. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.